This is a quick video about the Diewall feature of the Submittal database. We will use the default configuration file with the default hardware and materials for this demonstration. There are many other configurations and customizations you can make to the package. All the catalog items have to attach to a wall, so we'll put one in, and then from our favorites bar we'll grab our Diewall object, which we have placed there from the Legend catalog. We'll create a simple curved Diewall for this exercise, so we'll right-click on the cabinet itself and then click Edit Shape. Next, I'll drag a box around all of the lines that make up the perimeter of the cabinet so that I can draw a new line to represent the first wall of the cabinet. We'll go ahead and just make a simple curved Diewall here that is 5 inches thick, and that would be 5 inches thick for the studs. All of the panels will be in addition to the studs. You can check the perimeter and then save it. We'll go ahead and double click the cabinet so that we can bring it into the cabinet editing screen. We'll widen out so that you can see that there's a number of CAD symbols already saved into the right end view of the cabinet. Okay, now we'll take this into a 3D view so you can see the basic shape. So we have a top and bottom plate, we have our two ends, and we have a front and a back. But for Diewalls, it works best if we do two fronts. So we're going to go ahead and make that inside curve a second face. We'll go ahead and make sure that the ends are unfinished so that they can receive any notches or wire chase openings like the partitions, which are the wall studs. We'll put two panels on the outside or convex side of the wall, and we will call this the customer side of the Diewall. For the outside face or customer side of the wall, I don't want any reveals, so I'm going to increase the right side of the left panel by a 1/16 and the left side of the right panel by a 1/16 so that there will no longer be a gap between the two panels. Now we'll start working on the reception side of the panel, and we'll click on the interior so that we can add our partitions or wall studs in. It works best if you use an odd number of openings when doing this. You can always delete the extra partition if you needed an even number of openings. So one of the options is to add wire chase openings to your stud wall and your unfinished ends. You have a variety of choices that span two circular openings and two rectangular openings and combinations of that, and you can use them on short walls and tall walls. Each one of the openings you can adjust the width and height or diameter. The openings typically stay centered front to back, but you have the ability to also set the elevation on them, and because they reference the bottom of the Diewall, if you connect several Diewalls using the same numbers from one to the next, all of your wire chase opening holes will align. The next feature we'll look at is for companies that notch in their strapping or cleats into the studs. So you have up to 5 notches that you can put in on each individual edge. On each edge you can adjust the cleat's width and material depth or depth of the notch for the cleat. You also can individually, for each notch, adjust the elevation off the floor so that you can set the cleat exactly where you need it. Here you can see that I have set 3 notches for the inside radius where my removable panels will be, and I'll just set 2 cleat notches for the outside panels to be attached with. Keep in mind the value that you enter here represents the center of the cleat notch. The next feature we'll look at is the ability to notch your unfinished ends and your partitions or studs for a toe kick recess. This will only notch the stud. You will have to manually come in and adjust the width of that bottom plate to match the toe kick. You can notch both faces of the die wall if necessary for a toe kick recess. Next, we'll start adding the panels in the face section editor for the reception side of the wall. First, I divide the face into 3 horizontal opens and make each one of the opens into a panel. This will allow the reveals to be addressed correctly. I set the top panel at 2 inches, which is typically common for angle brackets that might be used to attach the countertop, and you don't want them to interfere with the removable panel. The bottom panel is typically 5 inches for the 4-inch rolled toe kick, and then the remainder is the removable panel. Then I take that center section and divide that up into an odd number of panels typically, so that you can put the left panel at 3 inches for an anchor panel. You can put the center panel at 3 inches for a bracket, and you can put the right panel at 3 inches for an anchor panel. Then I space the other 2 panels out evenly, or however you need to do it. You just equal space those panels. Now you have all the panels set with their reveals. Now the 2 removable panels can take advantage of the feature that all panels have, and that is that you can add finish washers and screws for attaching those panels as a visual aid for your drawings and to tally the number of screws and finish washers you'll need for the job. All you need to do is click on the panel and then go to your attributes list on the left and note that you want the screws, and there they are in the corners. Next, we'll show how to add a Rex bracket out of the catalog onto your die wall. So we'll go to the auto text catalog, find the bracket that you want, then we'll go ahead and import it. Next, we'll move it over using the snaps to the center fixed panel between the 2 removable panels that we created. Whenever you drag an object in from the library, it automatically knows to drop to the floor. So we'll just take a measurement here for how high we need to adjust that. We'll click on the bracket and raise it 10.5 inches off the floor. Now it'll be flush with the top of the die wall. You could manually add countertop parts at the cabinet level, or you can go back into the room level and add countertops using the countertop tool over on the left side of the screen. For this exercise, we'll not worry about the countertops. When I'm getting ready to generate my sections, I typically will take a dummy wall and just drop it into the room so that I can then use that to show my end view annotations. So once I've got everything laid out, I have my wall at the thickness that I want. I have chosen how many wire chases that I want, notches, once I get all of this information in, then I'll take and go ahead and use my notes here. There's also more notes and more countertop types if you just hit the CAD button. Scroll down to your low die wall symbols or a taller die wall. We'll drag the short ones in here. And this is set up so that you can pretty much just adjust it for however you need. You can edit these die wall symbols and save them into your symbols library so that they will match the way you build your walls all the time, and you won't need to edit them so often. And die walls typically do not use auto text for any of the materials just because of the nature of a die wall. Here's another quick example. I'll just show you a low wall combined with a high wall. This is two separate cabinets with different heights and then edited for their shape. All the interior walls have removable panels and the exteriors have fixed panels.